Okay, hi. I guess I'm starting the vlog this way. Me and baby are gonna go to the pet store. It's a gloomy day, but my former coworker, Lila. My former coworkers haven't seen her since she was a tiny puppy, and clearly she ain't that tiny anymore. So we're gonna go and probably look at some Halloween pet stuff. That'll be cute. As far as reading goes, I'm reading All My Rage by Sabati here. I'm actually about halfway through and I'm really enjoying it. So I will actually talk more about my thoughts later. But just opening up the vlog, the babe is still back there. We're gonna have a fun day. Bye. Okay, get up here. Stop yelling at me. Come on. Do you need me to pick you up? Oh my goodness. She needs cuddles all the time. Well, she'll just be down here. Hello. Welcome to another reading vlog. So usually I don't say when it is that I'm filming the reading vlog because I don't want to be judged for how long it takes me to actually edit and upload the videos, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it because there's gonna be a theme. It's October. I got my Halloween mug out. I don't know if you can see that, but they're dachshunds and hot dog costumes. Anyways, so it's October 2nd to be exact, and I'm going to hopefully be reading spooky books for the most of this month. I like picking my books at random. That has not changed, but I'm just gonna keep going through randomly until I find a spooky book to read. However, the book I'm reading right now, I started in September, so it's not along that theme. I'm actually reading All My Rage by Sabati here. Not spooky, but I will say I am very much enjoying this book. I'm about halfway through, so since it's not really the vibe for the season, I'm hoping to get through it within the next couple of days so I can switch over to the spooks. But yeah, this is what I'm currently reading. Like I said, very much enjoying it. The title is very relevant. It's about people's trauma and how they're viewed by society, and you know, just filled with rage because of it. Obviously these characters are Pakistani, and there's some Islamophobia. There's Islamophobia within one of their families, actually. One man, he's Pakistani as well, but he hates that about himself. So it's a very interesting aspect to see, and it's very sad to hear about. And obviously there's way more than that, but it follows two characters. They kind of have like a romance going on. I think it's very cute. One's in a very tough spot financially. His mother was very sick at the beginning of the story. His father is a drunk. This other girl, Nur, she's living with her uncle. She was an orphan after an earthquake that happened in Pakistan, and then moved to the United States with her uncle, but her uncle isn't very supportive because she does still have ties to Pakistan and her religion. So there's that. He also has some, you know, just resentment for having to give up his dreams to take care of her, which I hope we see some development in him, because what he did before just really doesn't speak to that kind of thought process. Though it has been years and resentment can build. I understand that. This is why I never want to have kids. But yeah, that's really what it's about. You see a little bit from Misbah, which is Saul's mother, which is the one that had been sick. So you see from her at the beginning of her marriage kind of how it went kind of downhill, because you know, her husband is a drunk at the beginning of the story. He is just completely lost himself to his grief, and it obviously didn't begin that way. So we're seeing just snippets of her life leading up to Saul and their storylines. So it's very, very interesting, very sad. There are trigger warnings at the beginning of this book, one of which is repressed sexual assault, which I think I see occurring. I don't know if they're actually gonna address that, but it does clearly have an impact on one of the characters and their ability to, you know, live a daily life and form relationships with people. So it's very hard to see, and I hope that they're going to face their issues head on. I would assume so, but right now they're kind of skirting around issues and conversations, which is very sad to see. But you know, I'm I'm interested to see how this is going to end. She's already broke my heart and I'm only halfway there. She broke my heart within the first 65 pages, which I didn't appreciate. So, you know, there's like another, what, 170 pages or so. She could hurt me a lot in that time. So I'm not ready, but I am going to hopefully finish this within the next few days. Right now it is a very good read. But as far as my plans go for now, like I said, I'm gonna read some spooky books when I'm finished with that. But I did just watch Olivia Reads a Latte's like horror reading vlog, and now I want some horror books. So I'm gonna go to Barnes & Noble later today and hopefully get some of those. What else am I gonna do? I'm gonna decorate for Halloween eventually. It's October 2nd. I'm surprised I haven't done it yet. I mean, I have decorations up, like my little dude here, some pumpkin, but I have a lot more under my bed in the storage bin, so I'll take those out eventually. But yeah, right now I'm just hanging out, and then we'll go to Barnes & Noble and hopefully I'll take you guys along with me. We can look at the horror. I'm very excited for the horror books. I think that's it. Do I have any specific horror in mind? I know I have Got No Longer Human by Junji Ito, but I don't know if that'll be one. Is that horror or is that just depressing? It's graphic because Junji Ito, but the storyline, freaking sad. I don't think I have anything else to say. That's it. I'm sorry that I'm talking so quiet, but those are the vibes, those are the plans. Plus it's Sunday right now, so there's gonna be a new episode of Crime Weekly out on YouTube, so I'll watch that too. But yes, those are the plans. That's it for this update. Let's go to Barnes & Noble. Bye. Hello. It's a couple days later. I think, yeah, two days later. But I finished all my rage. I'm not okay. I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical when she said she was coming out with contemporary. I will never doubt you again. So but to hear, I feel like I don't know what to say about this. Her characters in this book, fantastic. I love their relationship and their chemistry, and then how everything tied together with Mispa's little snippets. Oh my god. So yeah, it was fantastic. This book, for the most part, I feel like this book is an exploration of trauma and resentment. Obviously, rage is something that is a factor throughout several characters' storylines and how it pertains to their trauma. That is something that I feel like we don't talk about a lot, where the reaction to these events and the unfairness, it is rage. It's not just sadness. So I really thought she did a fantastic job depicting the kind of turmoil that these characters were going through. I think I mentioned a character that I wanted to have sort of a redemption arc, the uncle. Yeah, I just want to say now, I take it back. He can burn in hell. So he doesn't deserve my forgiveness, or anyone's forgiveness for that matter. We found some stuff out about him later in the book. So yes, I just think she did a fantastic job with this book. I was hooked. The writing was great. I thought the storylines, the characters, all of it, I loved it. It was tough at moments, I'm not gonna lie. Read the trigger warnings for this before you go in, which, I mean, if you want to read them, they're all right here at the bottom of this page. It says it. First, I guess, like, dear reader, here's a list of content warnings. So I don't know, maybe some people think content warnings or trigger warnings are spoilers, so the page tells you that they're gonna be there before you actually see them. So yeah, but they're there. So please, if you want to read this, just like maybe pick it up in the store and read that list of content warnings beforehand. I don't think anything, especially with the sexual trauma, it doesn't go very detailed. So that's good. I appreciate that she respected boundaries there. Some people don't know how to do that. So thank you. I feel like I don't know what else to say. It was such a good book. Like I said, I think it was fantastic. I was hooked. Usually I don't read that much outside of work, but then I got home tonight. I was like, there's only 40 pages left. I can finish it. And I did. And my cats stared at me and waited for me to feed them the entire time. But this book took priority over their feeding time. They can wait another 20 minutes. They'll live. They lived. They're eating their food happily right now. So yeah. I don't usually end up doing that with books nowadays. There used to be a time where I could, sit down and read a book and be fully engrossed for hours. And that doesn't happen that often anymore, but this one was an exception. So fantastic, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm going to finish the things that I need to do before I eat. I'm gonna eat dinner and I'm gonna take a fat sleep afterward because I have felt too many emotions today and I'm gonna feel more before the day is over. So goodbye. Hello, I need to clean that fish tank. That's why it's so loud. It's the next day. It's the next night because apparently I can only update at midnight after I get off work. But I did want to mention the book that I started today, which is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. This is a dark academia book that came out last year that had a lot of hype pre-publication, but then I started just seeing kind of meh reviews for it, but I still kept it because look at this cover. My camera doesn't do it justice, but it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's not a reason to keep a book, but I'm reading it, so it's fine. I'm 80 pages in now. I started it today. It's not super long, and I'm not disliking it. I mean, it's sapphic, so that's always a plus. I'm not disliking it. It's definitely kind of got that fall vibe because it's just turned October where they're at. The fall breeze is coming in. The leaves are changing, except the leaves won't change fast enough where I'm at. And it's still in the 70s, even though we're not that far south. It usually gets cold, but I guess it's gonna wait till December or something. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I like the atmosphere so far. I didn't read the synopsis, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know where it's going. The story kind of it takes place at a prep school. They're all prestigious, stuck-up, rich chicks, but it's rooted in witchcraft, or kind of a lore of witchcraft. It doesn't seem like a lot of people believe that that's actually what's going on, or what had happened there, but there had been some murders at this house. So the main character a year prior had gotten really too deep into the history, and some stuff happened. Her partner, girlfriend, best friend ended up dead, and it's her coming back a year later with kind of that trauma and feeling like there's still more going on and that she's going to be dragged back into it. So it's really interesting because I don't really know what happened and if it's paranormal. It seems like it's supposed to be, but who knows. They switch it up on you every now and then. She's so cute. Look at her bow tie. But my camera's about to die. There's another new girl named Ellis who writes books in this, who showed up. And I think that there's gonna be some sapphic stuff there. But yeah, that's what this book is about. 80 pages in. I will continue. Right now, it does have kind of the spooky fall vibes that I am enjoying. So it's getting the job done for that at least. But yeah, I'm gonna go before my camera dies. So bye. welcome back to Update. I finished A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. I am going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I must say, I did very much enjoy a lot of this book. I think the vibes are fantastic, the atmosphere, the tension, love all of it. Fantastic. I definitely think, like, if you want an atmospheric fall spooky read this book. However, if you desire plot, or a good plot, because okay, you know how like some books are all vibes, no plot? Great, I can get with that. Except this was all vibes, but with plot that I just didn't like. So it was good in the sense like the main character's kind of unsettled, what is the word, unhinged in a way, which I don't mind. I think that makes an interesting story, but then I almost wish it would have left it at that, but instead there was a plot to explain why certain things were the way they were, and I would have, honestly, to be completely frank, I would have liked it if those questions were unanswered. I would have liked it better that way, because, you know, you had me intrigued when I was questioning everything. I didn't need the answers, because the answers weren't satisfying, and quite frankly, I don't know if any answer would be satisfying. So, like, just leave it a vibe, let it be, let things work out the way they will, but don't make it this whole thing. I did not like the ending of this book, man. I do like the dynamic between characters. There's really only 2 characters in this book, which I did see that as a critique, and it was kind of this weird dynamic where it was less of a love interest. It was a love interest, like there was certainly some romantic sexual tension going on there, but it was less that, more just 2 girls completely obsessed with one another. That is a dynamic of which I have not read before, and I found very interesting. I know there's other stories like that, like I think like Bunny might sort of be like that, and I haven't read that one yet, but just having read this and enjoyed that dynamic makes me want to read it. So, you know, this might be the start of me reading about completely unhinged women. I mean, lots of people do it, so why not me? But yeah, that's, I mean, I can't say like the direction that the plot goes in without spoiling the book. And then there was like this random part at the ending, which I thought left like a really cool bit of suspense, but it kind of plays on the character and their point of view, how you see all these events that are happening, and like how they're, since it's from their point of view, it's less like you're not seeing them quite as bad as they might actually be, which like is interesting. But then at the very end it kind of implies like they have certain bad urges. I'm like, okay, so wait, which one is it? Are you just unlucky, or are you a psychopath? I just wasn't into the plot, but the vibes, everything else. And I will say that the plot portion, it doesn't happen until closer to the end of the book, like when everything goes down. That's when it lost me. The, you know, first 3/4 of this book, just vibes, just weird crap happening, fantastic. That last part, that's what got me. That's what is holding me back from giving this a better rating. But especially the first half, just fantastic. Love it. The vibes, the atmosphere, fantastic. Victoria Lee, I will read more of your books. But yes, that is what I have to say about this book. I am going to pick the new book that I'm going to read. I have changed around all my spreadsheets, and now I'm going to enter in my random number generator until I land on something spooky. Oh hey, okay, I got one. So this one didn't even occur to me to read for this like month. I don't know why, but it's The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. I've been very interested in reading this for a while just because, I mean, I do like Kirsten White. Well, I've liked what I've read from her in the past. I read And I Darken. I ended up getting rid of it. It was not like, it was kind of a slow read, and it had been so long since I read it that I wasn't going to read the sequel, but I've heard good things about this one. I think it's just like a character study of Elizabeth Frankenstein. I believe Dr. Frankenstein's wife, arranged wife. So yeah, she's brought into the Frankenstein family, the Frankenstein home, and she becomes like very close with Victor Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein. It's kind of her managing him and being thrust into this world where he's, you know, doing all the things that Dr. Frankenstein does. So that's interesting. I mean, it's a really short book. I am excited to dive into Kirsten White's work again, because it's been a while. It's 287 pages, so very short, less than 300 pages. I feel like I could fly through this pretty quickly, though the font, I will admit, is tiny. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Ooh, it starts out with a quote from Paradise Lost. I will start this tomorrow because it's midnight, because I don't know how to update it in normal time of the night. I haven't actually read Frankenstein. My brain was like, maybe you can do that this month, Mariah. I'm not going to even attempt that. Nope, not unless it's the next book that pops up on my little random number generator. We're not doing that. Because I'm gonna somehow put myself in a reading slump if I do that, and we're not having that today. Not this month, not October. No. Not when we're this close to reaching our Goodreads goal. Anyways, yes. Finished Lesson of Vengeance, a straight up vibe. Ending, not so much. And this will be the book I start tomorrow, and I guess I'll update halfway through, even though that's like only 100 some pages. But yes, I'll update once that happens. As of right now, I'm going to eat my dinner and go to sleep because I have a dentist appointment tomorrow. That is it for tonight. I will update you all later. Bye. Hello, back at it again, midnight, with my pajamas, here to tell you that I finished The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, and to tell you that I did not like it. I gave this 2 stars. To be quite honest, it's not what I thought it was. So I have Frankenstein over here. Hi, this cover's ugly. Yeah, I got it for free, but this is Frankenstein. I thought that this was going to be a reimagining of this just from Elizabeth's perspective. Well, I guess not reimagining, because she certainly reimagined it, but like a retelling of Frankenstein from Elizabeth's perspective. That didn't happen. This is a completely different plot from Frankenstein. And I haven't read the original text, I do admit that, but I do know like important plot points, and they do literally make an excuse at the end of this book as to why certain plot points didn't happen or happened differently, and that seemed really dumb, and just the way they brought it up was really like, I don't know, what's the word, like campy or cliche. It's just, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was handled well. Like, you can tell a story from a different perspective and like have different takeaways from it, And that's what I thought this was gonna be. And I purposely did not read this first because I knew this was a kind of like an aged down version of it. I knew plot points weren't going to be the exact same, so I thought, you know, if I read this first I wouldn't enjoy this as much, but I didn't enjoy it either way. So I mean, the writing wasn't bad. I do actually think Elizabeth, at least at the beginning, was a good character, and I think that's the reason most people like this book, because of Elizabeth being a strong character, which she was in the first half of this book, in my opinion. She did a lot of things to kind of manipulate her way through life in order to survive, and so it's just the way that she would act around other people and do as they expected and could like talk her way through anything. Freaking cool. We love that. But it's honestly kind of strange how she's like this very intelligent, manipulative character in the first half of the book, but then like the conflict of the book is because literally everyone ended up manipulating her a little. Like, they don't make sense. I'm sorry. This being your only personality trait, and then that happening so many times, they just don't add up. Not to me, at least. So I didn't love it. I also thought I was gonna get like the cool gothic, dark, eerie vibes. I did not. Like, they were hinted at the beginning, like, oh, there's weird sounds at night, but then they didn't stay in that place where the weird sounds were, and it was never elaborated on. It only implied, so I think I think I know what the sounds are, guys. I think it was the monster. But they didn't say that. So yeah, it was a whole thing where it's like at first there was some promise, and then you change settings, and then the pace was weird, and then you change settings again, and some more weird shit went down. So yeah, no, not a fan. The pacing of this book was really strange. Like, for such a short book, you would think it couldn't feel slow, but at times it did, because just like nothing was happening. And then a bunch of stuff happened at the end, but that stuff didn't actually happen in this Frankenstein. So yeah, I thought it was going to be different. I thought it was going to be gothic. I thought it was going to be a character study, not just a completely reinvented plot. So maybe I should have thought it was something else. I don't think it really sold itself as something else, but maybe I'm just dumb. Who knows? I didn't particularly enjoy it, and that's that. If you liked it, then you know, that's good for you. I'm glad you could have better luck than I did. But in other news, I'm going to do the exact thing that I said in the last clip I wasn't going to do, which is read Frankenstein. Because I know the plot is completely different, and I do want to read this book, and I do think it has the gothic vibes, so like I want to know. The potential that book had made me intrigued to read this one, and then it completely disappointed me, so I'm like clinging to hope that this will not. I mean, I know it's a completely different story, so hopefully I'll like it. Yeah, I'm gonna start this tomorrow. Well, I guess it's later today. Oh hey, the quote from Paradise Lost was at the beginning of that book, and it's also at the beginning of this book. Isn't that cool? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Now I'm even more intrigued. I was looking through the table of contents, and I knew there were letters and all, but it goes from the letters to Victor Frankenstein's narrative, and then it switches to the monster's narrative, and then back to Victor Frankenstein's narrative, which is interesting. I didn't know you got the perspective of the monster. That's okay. Now I'm very intrigued. Okay. Oh look, there's Henry. I thought he was going to be a character in that book, and then he wasn't. That was very disappointing. because they kept mentioning him. I'm like, okay, so where's Henry at? He sort of showed up. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna stop just rambling. I didn't like it. That's it. I'm gonna read this now. I'm gonna start it in the morning. Relatively short book, and then I did also read a few lines from the beginning, and the writing, the language is really accessible. I don't really read classics all that much because I read them, I'm like, wow, this is unbelievably detailed for no reason. This, I didn't get that from the few lines that I read. It seemed pretty easy to comprehend, so I am excited to read this, and hopefully I will like it more than the other one. Yeah. I'm gonna read this. I'm going to hopefully enjoy it. I'm going to shut up, and I will talk to you at some point. Bye. Hello. What am I doing? Oh, yes, I'm closing out this video. I'm trying to show off my merch. It's been a few days. I finished Frankenstein. I gave it 3 stars. It was not bad. It was nothing like Hollywood portrays it as. The plot is just completely different. It's more along the lines of The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, which makes sense since it's actually following the plot of the story. Sort of. It still changed a lot, and I didn't like it. I gave Frankenstein 3 stars just because I don't think it's anything super special. I feel like with classics, you have to just like be my perfect niche in order for me to really love it or really enjoy it. And the only one that's done it is The Fall of the House of Usher. So Frankenstein, obviously, it didn't fill me with the joy that that The Fall of the House of Usher does. It was fine. I think I understood what I was trying to get at. Definitely like a kind of a discussion of nature versus nurture and humanity and kind of the evil within even things that are innately human. And yeah, I thought it was interesting. I think Mary Shelley definitely, you know, was trying to create a story where the protagonist and antagonist was kind of not so black and white. Yeah, I thought it was interesting, especially considering I thought I knew what I was getting into. I haven't seen the movie, but afterwards I kind of like looked up the plot and I was like, okay, it is what I thought it was. And that book was not the same thing at all. So it's kind of crazy how like the plot and everything was just completely turned up on its head. It took the names and that's it. But yeah, it wasn't like my favorite. The writing wasn't as nice as I thought it would be. I was hoping it would be, you know, with classics I hope for really atmospheric descriptions. Nature was involved a lot in the book, which I thought was interesting considering Victor Frankenstein, he, you know, I guess had this sudden urge to be God and create or defy death. And it's an interesting kind of comparison to how much he appreciates and loves nature. But other than that, I didn't really get the spooky vibes. I didn't get the gothic vibes. Those were the vibes I was hoping for. And unfortunately, they were not there. I didn't dislike it. I think I probably would get more out of it in a academic setting. I'm not in one of those, but now I can say that I've read Frankenstein. So, yay. I did finish it right before I had a long weekend, and I was not going to film over the long weekend apparently. But yes, because of that, I think I'm going to close out this vlog. I have done some things. I went to see We're All Doomed, which is the Daniel Howell comedy show. Fantastic. Recommend. I mean, at this point I don't think there's too much of it left to go see, but I started a new book, but I'll talk about that in the next video. But I kind of just wanted to close this one out. Read some spoopy books. Read one not so spoopy book, which happened to be the best book out of all of them. So yes, I'm on some reading sprints now. They're just talking. I'm waiting for the sprint part to come back, but I will continue reading, but I'll talk about that in the next video. That is all for my thoughts, what I've done, and I will see you next time.